Hi! I know it's been a minute since I've done a vlog. I'm so sorry. We've been so busy. It's been a rough couple months. I've talked before about how we're trying to move out of the space that we're living in right now. It's a rental investment for us, and we're hoping to be able to move out and hopefully rent it in the next month. So we've been working furiously on that. We just need to finish the basement and then we should be good to go. I wanted to hop on though and talk about a requested topic I've had many times. I've been wanting to film this for a long time. This has been something that I've mentioned several times during my weight loss journey, and it is using your hormones to help you lose weight. After I had my failed IVF last year, I was looking online trying to find the exact diet that my body needed. So I was looking up things like diet after failed IVF, diet to detox from IVF hormones, diet for miscarriage, like all these things. I just wanted someone so badly to guide me and to tell me what exactly my body needed. When I didn't find that, surprise, because it's so specific, I had a reflective moment where I thought, my body is sending me cues all the time of what it needs, and I never listen to it. I'm always finding diet after diet after diet that's supposed to help me figure out what my body needs when my body's already telling me what it needs. So the whole last year, I really focused on trying to understand my hormones and trying to implement those to the body cues I was receiving so that I could maximize my weight loss. Now, when I say maximize weight loss, the thing is, it's not like I lost weight really fast. There are several different diet plans out there that you can drop pounds really quickly, but I didn't want it to be a plan that I couldn't sustain forever. I wanted to make it a lifestyle. I wanted it to be something that didn't feel torturous. So I'm gonna talk you through what that was. Keep in mind, I am not a doctor. This is purely internet research. Who's to say any of it's even right? It could be 100% inaccurate, but it did work for me. So I'm happy to share what I've learned, but if you have questions or you're not sure about it, I would talk with a doctor or just keep track of your own cycle, listen to your own body cues, and go from there. Just a heads up, we have a Dietbet starting tomorrow. With Dietbet, they let you weigh in 2 days early, so the weigh-ins start tomorrow. The game actually begins on June 5th, but you can weigh in early on June 3rd. And so if you are interested in joining, we would love to have you. No pressure. It is something I used last year to help me stay accountable and to help me in losing weight. And if you hit the goal, you get all your money back. So just a heads up on that. So let me draw this little chart. I don't have any paper that does not have print on the back. So this is the best. So sorry if you can see through this and it's not the most professional getup you've ever seen. So in this graph, I want to show you two things mostly. One is going to be your hormones and how they impact the days of your cycle. I remember as a kid thinking that when I had PMS, that was just an excuse. And I thought, nope, I am feeling mad because I am feeling mad. I am not feeling mad because of my hormones. But as I've begun to track this, I've realized I actually am very highly impacted by the cycle days each month. So the hard thing about this is that this really goes off of someone who has a regular cycle. I don't even have a perfect cycle. I vary between 26 to 36 days. And so if you're someone with PCOS and you go months and months, I don't know that this will apply to you as much. If you're on birth control, your hormones are being manipulated by hormone treatment. Also, if you're menopausal, that can play an impact too. Those are actually things I hope to research and find out more of, because even though the hormones are different than what I'm laying out here, that doesn't mean you can't use them to your advantage. So I'm gonna split this chart in half. So this is week 1, week 2. This first half of your cycle from days 1 to when you ovulate is called your follicular phase. The last half of your cycle is called your luteal phase. I hope I'm spelling these right. For me, I never ovulate on day 14. I usually ovulate somewhere between here If you're not sure how or when you ovulate, you can go online and just look up like how to know when I ovulate, and there will be all sorts of body cues and stuff. Anyway, so my follicular phase usually goes to about here, but for the sake of this diagram, we're just going to do the perfect 28-day cycle. During your follicular phase, this is like the golden time. This is when you're going to really be the most balanced in your hormones. In fact, I read an article one time that said you are most like a man when you're in your follicular phase, because their hormones, they vary here and there, but they're not extreme like ours are. So this is when it's the most balanced. You're gonna feel your best. In fact, another article I read said that from days 3 to 9-ish, you usually feel the best. You usually feel happy, usually feel like you can get things done more. During this phase, your estrogen level, it starts pretty normal, and then it starts to climb. It starts climbing, and this is when you start feeling good, so it's going up. Estrogen is actually a muscle building hormone as well, and so it's a great time to work on building muscle. So it's climbing, it's climbing. Progesterone usually stays pretty low. We'll do an E here and a P here so you know which is which. Progesterone stays pretty low during the first 2 weeks. It might bump up a little bit, but it doesn't get too crazy. So we'll talk to this point. I'll tell you all about this part in a minute. But anyway, since your estrogen is high and your progesterone is relatively low, this is a great time to build muscle, and your body won't even be holding on to fat like it normally does. In fact, in my weight loss, I usually find that this week 2, I am dropping weight really quickly. I have a friend who I'm putting on the same kind of diet program that I went on, and I told her during this cycle, it is the part where you can eat more, but you have to move more. So it's not like you're eating a ton, but like if you have some cravings for carbs, that's fine, but you also have to work out more. So when I say work out more, I don't mean like necessarily with duration, I mean like with intensity. So you can be lifting the heavy weights, you can be doing the HIIT workouts, you can be doing circuit training. Like I said, you can kind of train like a man. So think of what men do. They're doing like sprint intervals, they are lifting the heavy weights. So when I say move more, I mean like you can really kind of, in a way, like almost stress your body out with the workouts. And because of that, you can also eat more. If you're not doing an intense workout or working out at all, then you don't get the approval to eat as much as you want. You still have to have that balance of like, okay, I want to eat cake at a friend's thing tonight, so that means I have to give a little more at the gym. Okay, so let's talk about weeks 3 and 4. Just a reminder, so the luteal phase, this is like the day after you ovulate to the day before you start your period. After you ovulate, your estrogen will tank. It's going to drop significantly. You might get a little more bump, but it's just going to bottom out. And that stinks. Progesterone, though, will climb. I just remember when I was on progesterone medication, it made me so tired. The progesterone stays high, and then like if you don't get pregnant, it will also bottom out when it's time to start your cycle again. If you're curious, testosterone just kind of stays pretty mellow. It might get a little bump around ovulation, but then it just stays low. So during week 3, because your progesterone is climbing and because your estrogen is dropping, it's going to be harder to build muscle because this is so low. It is a great time to burn fat. So this week, I would focus more on fat burning workouts. If you've ever been on a cardio machine at the gym, they always have these little heart indicator things that show you what your heart rate is in a cardio zone and in a fat burning zone. So I always think of a fat burning zone as like where you can tell that you're getting a good workout, like your heart's beating, not too fast that you feel like you're gonna die, but fast enough that you could carry on a conversation with a friend where you're maybe taking a breath every few words. If you're able to talk nonstop, probably need to increase the intensity a teeny bit more, but not so much that it's hard. It's something that you can maintain for a minimum of 30 minutes, but I would suggest around 45 minutes, and if you're already really active, maybe 60 minutes. So that was when I would prop up my phone on the treadmill. I'd put on a show that I'm really into, and I would just watch Netflix for about 45 minutes. Now week 4, this is when you're really premenstrual. They say that your body's in a catabolic state. I actually had to look up what catabolic meant, and it meant your body's under a lot of stress because the hormones are crashing and because it's using both fat and muscle for energy. Because the body's under so much stress, it's actually a really bad time to lift heavy weights, to work out really strenuously, because it's already stressed out. And I don't know about you, but when my body is crazy stressed, when I then try to stress it even more, I never lose weight. That's usually when my fat storage really hangs on tight. And it just seems like I'm doing more damage than good. So it's best to not stress it more than it's already stressed. It's naturally stressed all by itself. You don't need to add to the stress level. So I call this kind of the recoup week. You kind of have to eat less and move less. Now, if you want to work out, you totally can, but your workouts have to be purely happy. And not like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, this is the best thing ever. But something that's like, this feels so good. Like maybe you're going on a hike, maybe you just want to do some yoga, maybe you just feel like stretching that night. I remember one time I was in the week 4 phase, or I was in the week 4 of my cycle, and I walked into the gym. I walked for 5 minutes. I walked with my hands or my eyes closed the whole time because I was so exhausted. And I took my little fanny to the room where they have some massage chairs. This is at Vasa. And I did like 15 minutes of like a water massage chair. And that was my workout for the day. And I was stunned when I weighed in the next morning and I dropped weight. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no way. But it was just what my body needed. It needed to recoup. Because the hormones are both so low, your brain has these receptors in it, and its brain chemistry is thrown off by the hormones tanking. And because of that, it's going to make you feel tired. It's going to make you have cravings because it needs more energy, or it thinks it does. It's going to make you hormonal and irritable, but it's just because of the hormones tanking. You will have cravings for more carbs. I'd say if you can keep it within your calorie limit, treat yourself. But I'm a person who, when I'm premenstrual, I have a really hard time keeping it in control. So most of the time I try to limit my carb intake and to reduce my sugar. And if I reduce those things while also like limiting my workouts, it seems to have worked for me. I kind of would ask myself this: you can have chocolate or you can rest. Which one? Like, you can eat the chocolate, but that means you're gonna have to go to the gym. Or you can not have the chocolate and then take a bubble bath instead tonight. And almost always during that week, what I wanted more than chocolate was to rest. So most of the time during week 4, I didn't work out. I would just take those times to just chill or stretch, whatever it felt like my body needed, and it seemed to work really well. Also during week 4, you just want to make sure to sleep as much as you can. I mean, I don't mean like all day long forever, but make sure to get 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever you're able to get. Now, the last part of what I would do with my cycle, how I would track this is just in a notepad in my phone. Every time my cycle would start, that's day 1, so day 1 of your period. So I have day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on. Let's just hit the big ones. For me, it was like day 17, ovulation. I don't take predictor kits. I feel like I know my body well enough that I can tell when my body's ovulating. And then I usually have my period on day like 33. So we'll say this is day 32 because this is the last day of the cycle. So on day 1, I would weigh myself. Let's just say I weighed 200 pounds. And then I would track it every single day. I would track my weight. So say the next day it's 199.8 and so on. Usually these weeks, the first 2 weeks I would drop. So by day 17, I might be down to like 195. Then usually the next 2 weeks are really, really slow. Again, in my phone, I have every single day written out. But just for time, I'm not gonna write them all. So I usually don't drop this much during the next 2 weeks. I maybe get down to like 192. So in this where I dropped 5, I might only drop 3 the next 2 weeks. But outside of just taking a note of what I weighed every single day, I would also I would put like emojis like, I'm sad today. I don't feel happy. This day I am anxious. That's what this face looks like to me. I'm not an artist. By ovulation, maybe I'm feeling happy and everything is good. By this day, I'm probably irritable. Let's do angry eyes. Also, what I'll put on here is, at least with my phone, there's like a green checkbox. And a green checkbox for me means I worked out. Good job. Because I wanted to also see not only how was my weight impacted just by hormones, but how was my weight impacted by my workouts. Like if I had several days of not working out, would I see a correlation with my weight? So again, in my iPhone, I have like a red X. So my red X means I didn't work out today. Another thing I would keep track of, and this might be too gross, but I feel like it's so informative, is bowel movements. So if there's that little poop emoji. Wow, I am not good at this. If I had a BM that day, I would track it. The thing is, I noticed when I was having really good weight loss, I was having a daily BM. On days where it felt like I was having plateaus, I noticed I wasn't having as many BMs. I think metabolism is totally tied into that. And so when your metabolism is moving at a good speed and it's working, you're having those at least daily. If you're noticing things aren't moving well digestively, you'll probably see it impact your weight as well. And then I might add other notes like mom's birthday, ate crap, just so that in the future, if I wanted to go back to this exact month, because I keep a record of every single month, I could remember, or I could see like, wait, what was going on this day? But that was only for big events. Otherwise, I would just leave that out and just keep track of these things. So again, this was an entire month. And then when a new month starts, this is all in one notepad. I would move that all down to to the bottom of the notepad and then start a new one. Day 1, day 2. And I could start seeing the patterns. And I totally noticed patterns. Like I said, weeks 1 and 2, I did feel more energized. Like the research I had read said I would, and it was accurate for me. And weeks 3 and 4, I did notice crashes. I only lost weight like two weeks out of the 4. No matter what I do, week 4, I like almost never drop weight. But knowing that like made it easier for me to be patient, because I knew if I would just hold strong, that eventually it would drop off. I feel like this is so much information. It may not even make sense, but it is, like I said, been something that people have been asking me to review. So I hope it helps someone out there. So anyway, I think it's just a good way to get to know your body. I hope to do an update on our basement in the next video. I'm hoping I can get a little bit more consistent with vlogging. It's such a hard time. Like, we're hoping to move, get the house finished, get better about working out again, because we haven't done a great job of it, and enjoy the summer at the same time. I also hope that we are moving towards a baby thing pretty soon here. I really hope near the end of the year that we have not only a plan in motion, but like maybe are really close to making baby happen. We'll see though. So anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Thanks again for everything, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.